On this, we are now joined by sports psychologist and former Norwich striker Paul McVeigh. Paul, always good to speak to you. Thank you for joining us. Antony really opened up on his experience at Old Trafford during his recent interview. How important do you think it is that players are open about their mental health to further that conversation on player welfare?
Yeah, of course, Joe. It's huge, and I think it's probably quite appropriate to mention the last time that we spoke. It was when Richarlison, of course, famously spoke out about needing a sports psychologist and wanting help around the mental side of the game. And so for Anthony to come out and talk about what he's talked about in terms of how down he's been, the challenges he's faced, I think it just shows how apparent it is and how it's proliferated throughout the entire game, not just from the players coming in with huge price tags like he has when he joined for that, as you said, 80 odd million, and the fact that he's at Manchester United, the most high profile club in the world. So he's got more pressures than most players, but just because you still don't have the price tag or at the one of the biggest clubs in the world, a lot of players could be, and I know have been going through the exact same issues.
Yeah, because it will be a common thing, because you do have all these players that have success. He had success at Ajax, then got that big move to Manchester United. He would have obviously felt elated by that. Then not quite hitting the heights that he was expecting. I mean, how difficult is that for him, for any player, when you don't quite hit the heights of those expectations?
Yeah, and of course it'll be his own expectations. Yes, there'll be the fans coming in, the coaching staff, the players who are expecting big things. But, we've seen it time and time again, especially in Manchester United, but not just at United. Players coming in with huge expectation, not being able to deliver. But I think what you have to realize here, and this is just so important to say, that these are young men, really young men, just because they're elite athletes, just because they're top performers or had been, which is why he got the move. They still have issues like all of us. We're still emotional creatures. We still have lots of problems going on, generally outside of the pitch. So I think these are the things that we don't talk about enough, and I think that's probably why my role as a performance psychologist, of currently working with a championship team this season, it's so important to get players not just to talk about how to get better, but also how to improve the levels you've already worked at. And recently, I actually spoke with a professional player just a couple of days ago. And, he's talking about how he always felt like he was mentally tough and mentally strong. It's almost one of the best attributes of his game, but he's never worked with someone to improve and get better. And I think that's always the challenge, because if you put into any other aspect of the game, whether it's sports science, nutrition, anything else, there'll be an expert in their field at the club, normally multiple people who could work with a player to improve them and get better. But it's the conversation is brilliant. The fact that you're talking about this today, it's going across millions of people watching this interview, and to be able to share that with people and say, you know what, this is normal. It's very normal to get down. It's very normal to have these dips in life, but then it's how do we react? And of course, do we have the resources and support to get through it?
Something that we do talk quite a lot about is the online abuse that footballers get. A lot has been said about the abuse that he was receiving online when he was in Manchester. Paul, just from your experience, give us a bit of an insight how that does affect players in terms of their well-being, and how hard is it for players to kind of ignore the sounds from fans?
Okay, well, I think to answer the first part of the question, Joe, I would say it's actually really easy to deal with it, because you have one aspect where you go, do I really want to give any credibility, any credence to this message or this comment that you might receive on social media? So I think that's just simply a decision. Do you care what other people think, or do you not? And that's probably how lots of people go through their lives. If the other question, the other part of your question is how difficult is it to ignore it or stay away from it, then that's much more difficult, because social media is all around, especially if, I'm nearly 50, so social media has only been in the second half of my life. If you're in your early 20s, it's through most of your entire life, so it's very difficult to stay away from it. But from a psychological point of view, it's simply a case of how much meaning do I want to give to this person who I've never met, who might shout something, because ultimately players do this every single time they go onto the field. I can't remember the amount of times I played at Ellen Road or Stamford Bridge or wherever you want to play. The fans give you dog's abuse. Now, as a player, you have to give yourself that very quick question. Do I care what these 50,000 fans think of me? Or do I need to stick with my own beliefs and carry on my own path? And that's what you need to do every single time you're on a field of play. So why should it be any different when you're looking at your phone?
Yeah, and we heard from Antony saying that he spent days not eating, locked in his room. I mean, for a professional athlete to spend days not eating, pretty serious situation. How aware do you think the club would have been of this? And how aware do clubs need to be of these kind of situations and the help that they need to give their players?
Yeah, listen, this is one of the most extreme examples I've heard of that, of a player not eating for days, not wanting to, leave the house, and all of the challenges that go along when you're into this really dark place. Really, you can become very hopeless and quite helpless in this scenario, and it is down to the club to try and be aware of it. And I suppose the question that I've asked, and interestingly, I did an interview on Talksport yesterday, and I'm saying about the amount of clubs who I believe don't have the full psychological support that players are necessary of what they're required. Because even in my own role currently, I work on 1 day a week. If you wouldn't put that in for a physio, you wouldn't put it in for a sports scientist, even a data analyst, you wouldn't put it in at a football club. So why would you put the sports psychologist or a mental performance coach like me? Why would you put them in at 1 day a week? So I think that's probably a bigger question of how much credibility is the footballing community given to this, and how much do they want to help? Because within, a week, a month, a season, you could have as much support as possible, because there's enough support out there. There's enough academics, there's professors of sports psychology, there's enough people who have the ability to help and support players. It's just the football clubs aren't always employing them.
Paul, it's really good to get your insight on all of this. Thank you so much for joining us this lunchtime.
Pleasure, Joe.
Let's get to Poland now, where Chelsea can become the first club to win all 4 major European trophies when they take on Real Betis in tonight's Conference League final. Let's get more on this. We can join our reporter Gary Cottrell, who is out there for us. Gary, we're talking about how Chelsea can make a bit of history tonight. How are the fans feeling? Are they confident that they can get their hands on more silverware?
Carve's really excited about the extra transfer window, isn't he? The reigning transfer guru. Well, we're in reigning Wrocław, as you can see at the moment. The showers are coming and going here in Poland. Not so much Poland as Showerland at the moment. A little bit earlier on, when it was nice and sunny, it was much busier here. We managed to go out and about and see some of the Chelsea fans, and many, many more. I have to say, Betis fans really enjoying the atmosphere. We'll show you those pictures and some of the comments that the fans made throughout the afternoon on Sky Sports News. You can see a windmill in the background. That's electric. It's not that windy, but as I say, at the moment, very rainy. So I guess that's subdued the atmosphere a little bit, but certainly Chelsea fans are beginning now to really want to win this trophy. Some of them perhaps were thinking, well, we're in the Champions League, job done for next season. To win the conference will be a nice cherry on the icing on the cake. But as they've arrived and as they begin the build-up to this game, and they've listened to their players, they've listened to their manager talk about how they want to start the winning process, they want to start the winning mentality by winning this trophy and making it, like you say, the only one that they haven't won, getting that in the trophy cabinet, then they are becoming more enthusiastic about this being a trophy that they want to win, and they're confident as well of winning it.
The last few games, we're getting back. There's some good players here, but there's also some dead woods. We need a centre forward.
A great end to the season.
You enjoying it?
Yeah, this time last year we thought, where are we going to be? But, here we are, final, Champions League. Long live Maresca.
At a point where we want to win the whole set again, that's really the point of it for us.
We've got to go for it tonight. You think, we're one away from everything, first team to do everything, sort of. So it means a lot. To supporters, it means a lot. I don't know necessarily about the players. Hopefully it does.
I do fancy us to win. I think it's going to be a tough game because for them this is the biggest game in their history. But for us, I really fancy it, complete the set. So looking forward to it. Should be good.
Win, then we've won every single trophy in Europe.
We win today, we've won everything. Nobody else has done that, right? So we're going to do it. Come on, Charles. Come on!
And of course, Gary, Maresca coming up against a manager that he knows well tonight. Just tell us a bit more about this history with Manuel Pellegrini.
Yeah, he calls him his father, his sporting father. They know each other really well. Maresca has played for Pellegrini, he's assisted Pellegrini, played for Pellegrini when he was at Malaga, assisted Pellegrini when he was manager at West Ham. And of course, they still have homes in Spain close together. They have dinner together. They even have barbecues together. Their families are very close. He rings him for advice. He actually rang Pellegrini, did Maresca, before he took the Chelsea job to ask him his advice. He wouldn't tell us exactly what the advice was or what that conversation entailed, but interesting that they have that kind of relationship. They spoke to each other as well coming into this game right at the start of the season. It was revealed yesterday that Pellegrini texted his friend Maresca and said, right, see you in Poland in May. So he predicted this final. So they are great friends. I'm sure they'll have a word before the match and a word after the match, but I'm sure, obviously it will be very, very serious stuff during the game. But it's interesting that they have that relationship. And by the way, Maresca has a really good relationship with Seville as well. Obviously, Betis, a team from Seville. He played for Sevilla for 4 years. He scored the only goal in a derby match once, which gave Sevilla a victory over Betis. So the Betis fans, I think, not fans of Maresca, they'll give it an extra hard night tonight.
Gary, for now, thank you very much.
So how did the team look into this final? Did it help that you won on Sunday? And how did it look?
Yeah, for sure. The mood it's a good one. It's a good mood. It's a consequence from the last game, but we know that the final is completely different because it's one game. Anything can happen, but overall the mood is very good. Yeah.
Have you spoken to Manuel Pellegrini since your footballing father? How's it feel to sort of
I just met him outside and all the staff and some of the players that I know for different reasons, and yeah, we just see each other.
Can we wait for the microphones, please, when they arrive? John.
Hello, Enzo. I just wonder if you, having qualified for the Champions League Sunday, if you follow that up with the European trophy, what will that mean as a season overall? How do you view that season from a position where you started last summer?
Well, let me think that we qualified. That we feel much better. No, yeah, I said a few times during the season that for me was already a good season for different reasons and can become a very good season if we finish top 4, top 5, and if we are able to win the final tomorrow. The first target is there. We achieved that last Sunday, and hopefully we can achieve tomorrow the second one.
Over here, please.
Hola Enzo, ¿qué tal? Juan Luis Martín para el Correo de Andalucía. Por tu pasado sevillista, no sé si te hace especial.
At Sevilla, I don't know if you're especially eager to beat Betis, and what do you make special to reach this final against Betis? No, above all, it's a final between Chelsea and Betis. I'm simply representing Chelsea here, and all my thinking, all my focus is only on Chelsea. As for Betis, I think they've done really well. They've beaten really important teams in Spain, and it's a dangerous team above all because of what the coach wants and the quality of some players, of the players they have.
Hi, Enzo. Hiya. If I just take you back to Sunday, we saw Levi Colwill on the pitch talking about the critics of Chelsea, and he swore on television. You swore in a press conference as well, talking about the critics of Chelsea. It feels to me almost like the siege mentality is back at Chelsea. Chelsea used to thrive on that because people never liked them that much. Does it feel like that there is a siege mentality building at Chelsea? And also, I wonder did you get in trouble with your wife for swearing with your daughter sitting next to you at a press conference?
First of all, I think it's a good feeling that the players react when there are some critics, So I think it's a good reaction from the players. Then Levi reaction, my reaction. was just you say outburst. How do you say outburst? You know, for the moment. And the reason why is because in our bad moment or bad run during the season, I mean February, March, when we draw points, many people, they were talking not from our point of view, they were not talking in the right way. Probably if you ask them, they're gonna say that from their point of view, they were talking the right way. But from our point of view, they were not talking in the right way. And the reason why is because, yes, we are young, yes, we are the youngest squad in the history of the Premier League, but at the same time, they are men. So I also use that critics to say, guys, today it's a chance that we can say that we are not young, we are mature enough, we can compete and we can do the right things. So I think Levi's reaction, my reaction, different players that they react, it was just an outburst.
Well, I think that I can be proud, but I think that Antony did all what he could to do it. I spoke with him before he came in to Betis. He told me that he was not playing because he was not happy, but he had a lot of complaint about what he has done also, so he wanted revenge. And here in Betis, I think that he had it, and he did it in the way we know that he can do it, because it's not easy for you to pay 100 million for a player, and Antony is a very good player. I am absolutely sure that this is a huge time here in Betis to continue improving his career.
Chelsea coach Enzo Maresca, who you obviously know very well, made a very strong point last week that Betis played on Friday, their final game before this match, but Chelsea had to play on Sunday. And he's made a big point of the fact you have 2 extra days to prepare. Does he have a point? Do you have an advantage over Chelsea because of this?
Well, I read what Enzo said, and I agree absolutely with him. Not because with Betis against Chelsea, I think that in football you cannot give any advantage to your rival. Of course, they had a difficult game on Sunday that they must qualify for the Champions League. They did it, so I'm very happy for him. But it will not be an excuse, because you need to play 3 days after that game. And you, during the whole season, you always have to play, especially when you play Champions League or European games, to play Thursday and Sunday, Wednesday or Saturday. So I'm absolutely sure that Chelsea will be recuperated in what they did on Sunday, and will be tomorrow a difficult team with 1 or 2 days less of rest, but will be exactly the same difficult team.
Is it true that you texted Enzo Maresca telling him these 2 teams would meet in the final, and how early was that text? And then if you could speak a bit more as to what you taught Enzo as a manager.
Yes, of course. I sent Enzo a message, a very short message, when we start in the phase of groups. I see you in Poland in the final. And when we both arrive, also I give him a call to tell him how happy I was to play the final against him.
What were the main messages you taught him?
To Enzo? Yeah. No, nothing about that. Just 2 or 3 words. I congratulate him about what they did on Sunday.
I mean, when you worked together.
No, when we worked together, I don't know what he learned about that, but when we work in West Ham, we always talking about football, so both of us know absolutely what the other think about that.
You've obviously managed extensively in England. You know the strength of a team like Chelsea. Who do you think is favourites tomorrow night? Who should be favourites, and how much satisfaction would you take from winning?
Well, it's very easy for me to say that Chelsea is favourite, because as Isco just said, their budget is a little bit more than ours. But I don't agree with that. I think that both teams will have exactly the same chance to win the game tomorrow. In 90 minutes in a game, everyone can win. It depends on the performance of the players. We have a player with a lot of experience also, both here and both sides at my side. And we will be absolutely convinced from the first minute that we are going to start to try to win the game. And in 90 minutes, we'll see which team play better.
¿Qué tiene el Betis que no tenga el Chelsea? la Kings Limited Gold Edition. Solo hay 50 unidades de todos los equipos y también puede ser vuestra entrando en kingsleague.pro. Así que es los datos a tener en cuenta en cuanto a indumentarias. Gran partido, Gonzalo, Gerard, el que tenemos por delante.
Ojo, ojo, estilo La Bombonera, estadio de River.
Hostia, más minutos de retraso en el inicio, ¿eh? Ya tenemos lío.
Lo llamó Edo, dibujando la parábola sobre la banda derecha, donde en el vértice del área aparece Nadir. ¡Nadir para adentro! ¡Gol! De Nadir Lua, que tiene una facilidad pasmosa. Encuentra a Pablo, qué balón para Nadir para el segundo. Se tafa de Cócera, es un golazo. ¡Es un golazo! Señoras, señores, bienvenidos al show de Nadir Lua. Pibe.
El mejor.
Haciendo espionaje, ¿eh?
Vaya mierda dado, pibe. Va, ya te puedes ir a la cúpula a comer, va.
Tiene que salir Cócera para entregar hacia el centro. Se la regala Coy, le puede pegar Coy para adentro.
Vaya chicha, nano.
¡Gol! De Porcinos Óscar Coy. Ah, pues sí.
Tony, ¿tienes brazalete por ahí?
Pero es que, señores,
que no te lo dije, Romero.
Tenemos, comodín, ¿cómo lo usamos? Penalti.
Penalti.
Venga, será penalti.
Vamos, Cuni.
Puede meter en el partido a Cuni. Jordi para adentro, ¡qué golazo!
¡Guau!
¡Dios!
¡Gol! Vamos con Nadir Lua y con Laura Vizcaíno.
Pues sí, Nadir, 2 goles, victoria y a cuartos, enhorabuena.
Sí, sabíamos que el partido iba a ser muy importante porque veníamos de una muy mala dinámica. El equipo ha estado bien, sufríamos defensivamente y creo que hemos estado muy juntitos. Y nada, primer objetivo cumplido.
Os espera Science, rival complicado, imagino.
Sí, empatamos contra ellos y en shootout perdimos. Ha quedado segundo por algo. Nada, concentración, confianza con nosotros mismos y intentar ganar para el sábado estar en el Wizzing.
Pues lo veremos mañana, mucha suerte.